What's going on, Miami Dolphins fans? It's your boy JP Football Fanatics here with you once again for another record prediction video and talking more about the NFL schedule going on for the 2023-24 NFL season. The Miami Dolphins. There is a lot of talk about the Miami Dolphins. Some may put them at the top of the AFC East. Some may put them at the bottom of the AFC East. Some people don't even consider them as a contender just yet, at least. So, where do you think the Miami Dolphins are going to go this year? Do you think they're going to be above 500, below 500, right around that cusp around 500? Do you think they'll make that last sneak in the playoffs there like they did a year ago? And the biggest question mark really about Tua is Tua going to stay healthy? That is going to be the most important question to really think about when I'm analyzing the Miami Dolphins schedule. This is your boy JP Football Fanatics here, giving you my honest opinion of the 2023-24 season for the Miami Dolphins. If you have not done so already, please be sure to drop a like on this video, give it a nice thumbs up. Please be sure to also subscribe to the YouTube channel as well when new content is being given. And anytime I post any content like this, whether if it's pre-recorded or live in that matter, all of these things come into play and it helps the channel grow. And that's exactly what I want to do with this channel because I care about you guys and I care about the sport of football and the NFL. So please do all those things, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for any time that I post new content. Let's get started with the 2023-24 season for the Miami Dolphins. So I basically already talked about it, as far as where I think the Dolphins are going to be like this year. And the biggest question mark is going to be basically, is Tua going to stay healthy? I think that's the most important question that we really need to think about here when we're analyzing the Miami Dolphins schedule. So for this time being, just keep that in mind. Let's go talk about the Miami Dolphins. Week 1, they open up in a very challenging game against the Chargers in Los Angeles. I think it's a really good matchup here. I think it's a nice nice feed there between Justin Herbert and Tua. Last year was I believe last year the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they came and beat the Dolphins last year. Do I think that might happen again? It's tough to really decide whether or not they're going to. I think the Chargers are, a good team, but I don't think they're exactly a great team per se. That's, good enough to keep up with Miami. So I think for week 1, I think Miami's going to go in and beat the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers really have, nothing that really scares you besides Austin Eckler and Justin Herbert. Like, they're good, but I think their coaching staff really plays a big difference here. And I think Miami's offense is going to be so much for the defense for the Chargers to handle, especially when it comes to the run defense. Until they can fix up on that defense, until I see something different from them, maybe this will change before the start of the season. Week 2, you go to New England and you play the Patriots on Sunday Night Football. I had you in my last predictions video for the Patriots. I had you splitting with the Patriots. So I have you losing to them in New England in week 2 on Sunday night, and I have you beating them at home in week 8. I think that's exactly how it's going to go this year for the Dolphins, excuse me. I think they're going to go 1-1 against the Patriots. So that's where I'm looking at with that. Then you go to week 3, you play the Denver Broncos. You're playing this game in Miami, especially early in the season. I think you should be able to beat the Broncos. I think you've got a really, really nice advantage there to beat them. Especially we have to really see if, the Broncos are the team as everybody wants to hype them up to be. We have to see if Sean Payton is really the savior for all of Broncos. And so that's why I'm going with the Dolphins. I think they should be able to beat them. It's early in the season, and Miami is extremely hot in the month of September. Week 4, you go to the Buffalo Bills. I had you splitting with the Bills. I have you beating them in week 4, and I have you beating them. And I have you losing to them in week 18 in Miami because of that time frame of when you are playing them at home. It's going to be much more cooler off, and the Bills should be able to, slow down the Dolphins there. So I think the Dolphins usually start out hot early in the season, so I think that's where it's going to be. So I'm going with the Dolphins to beat the Bills in Buffalo. Week 5, you have the New York Giants. Again, you're playing this game in Miami. The month of September, October, it's still pretty pretty hot down there. I can see this game going really either way. I could see the Giants finding a way to upset the not Chargers. I'm sorry, the Dolphins. I can see that being the case, but in terms of like their corner of Deontay Banks, is he really ready for this next level of play for football as a rookie? Like, is he going to be able to match up with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? I don't think so. I think that's going to be a lot for the Giants to handle. The Dolphins should be able to win that one in Miami. Then you play at home against the Carolina Panthers, a team that's in a rebuild mode right now. I think the Panthers, are a team that is probably going to be better. They should be better. At least they'll compete for a division title in the NFC South. So I think, again, you're in Miami. You should be able to beat the Panthers. I think they're, still need some work to do. And if Bryce Young does start this early in the year, it's going to be hard for him to go down there and play Miami. Then you go to week 7. It's another Sunday night football game. Like in week 2, you play the Philadelphia Eagles. This game is in Philly. I expect Philly to go in there and beat the Dolphins in week 7. I think the Philly fans are going to be loud. They're going to be rowdy, and they're going to want to. It'll be a nice offensive shootout. Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, 2 Alabama quarterbacks going at it. This should be a really, really fun game to watch with 2 Alabama quarterbacks, and one of them, ending up, starting over one another or something in the borderlines of that. So that'll be a nice story to really talk about. It'll be a good game to really watch. Week 9, you go to this game in week 9 is with the Kansas City Chiefs, and you actually are going to Germany to play this game. So no real home advantage here. I like this game. I think this is a really good matchup for the Chiefs. It's a Tyreek Hill revenge game that I think the Dolphins could find a way to upset the Chiefs. Like, I still think the Chiefs, I think either way could go either way. I think both teams are poised to make a run, especially the Chiefs. They want to repeat as Super Bowl champs yet again. I think this game could go either way. I really do. Both defenses, I don't think defense is really going to exist in this game. So I think it'll be an offensive shootout, and that's really assuming if Tua is healthy. But I think the Dolphins should find a way. I think they'll find a way to upset the Chiefs, because I don't really trust in the Chiefs defense to be able to stop like their former teammate of Tyreek Hill. I think that's going to be very challenging for them to do. Week 10, you got the bye, and then you come off the bye in week 11, you play the Las Vegas Raiders with Jimmy Garoppolo playing for the Raiders at this point. Another game, I like this matchup a lot. It should be a really good game. I think both offenses, just like with the Chiefs, just like with the Eagles, maybe even the Chargers, I think it's going to be another game that's going to be like a high-flying offensive game. Both teams are really going to want to go at it. I think just because of home field advantage and everything like that, I think the Dolphins should win. I think because they're at home, I don't think they have the defense to be able to slow down players like Tyreek Hill. I don't think they will be able to stop Jalen Waddle. And I think as far as like, a couple of their defensive players that the Dolphins have now that they have Jalen Ramsey in there too, that it's going to be really hard for them to win that game. I think it will be a nice offensive shootout game, but Dolphins should be able to find a way to win that game at home. Week 12, you got the very first Black Friday game, and it's going to be with the Dolphins at the New York Jets. The Jets at this point, they have Aaron Rodgers. At this point, they should be able to have everything figured out with Aaron Rodgers. They should be able to pull off some more wins here. So I think they're going to split with the Jets this year. They'll lose to them in New Jersey, and then they'll beat them in Miami. I think that's exactly how it's going to go down. I think the Jets defense is really, really good. I think they're probably one of the only defenses in the AFC East that I feel like could potentially slow down the passing attack and slow down the 2 best receivers in the league. Week 13, you got the Washington Commanders. You should be able to beat the Commanders here. There's not much really to talk more about it. Although I could see the Commanders coming out and slightly pulling off that upset over the Dolphins, which would be a big upset. But it's all going to depend on quarterback play. Week 14, you play the Tennessee Titans in Miami on Monday Night Football. You should be able to win this game. I think you should be able to beat the Titans. The Titans will be competitive, of course, like they usually are in most of their games, but I think their offense is way too much for them to handle. Then you go to week 16, you play the Dallas Cowboys. Again, another game that the Cowboys are going to be. I feel like they're going to be a tough team to stop this year. I think they're going to be a hard team to play against. So I could see this game really going either way. The game is in Miami, so it does make a whole wide world difference here. So I think either way, I'm going to go back to this game in just a second because I kind of want to talk about this one, week 17. This could be potentially one of the biggest games of the year. The Miami Dolphins versus the Baltimore Ravens. It's going to be a huge game, huge playoff implications here. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think the Ravens, especially if you're playing in Baltimore, which is primarily one of the toughest places to play, I think the Ravens and what they have got in the offseason, they should be able to beat. Well, not should, but I think they can have a legitimate shot of beating the Dolphins in this late slate of the season. Then it kind of goes back down to week 16 here. You're kind of figuring out, like, are the Bills going to win the division? Is it going to be the Dolphins? Is it going to be the Jets, vice versa? So I'm going to go ahead and say I think I think the Cowboys can find a way to pull it out. Usually they kind of slow down, they kind of lose steam at the end of the season, but I don't think it's going to happen, particularly with this game. So I think at this point the Dolphins could end their season. I could see them being 11-6 for this matter. They could be one of those teams that, if all four teams have a winning record, they could potentially miss the playoffs by like a hair. That's very well possible that they could, but there's too much to like about this Dolphins team. Two of the fastest receivers in the league. You have a good enough running game. I think the running game is better than the Bills. Have a nice, solid defense. You have a pretty good coaching staff. Offensive line could use some work, but it's not terrible by any means. And, you just need to really debate on whether or not Tua is going to stay healthy. Because if Tua gets injured again or something happens in the concussion protocols, this will definitely change the momentum and the team's atmosphere completely. But I think when Tua is healthy, you've got a nice winning season. You're going to make the playoffs. And you're going to go 3-3 in the division. I think that's pretty relatively fair here too. Again, there's a couple teams that I could probably see, flip-flopping with a little bit. Like I could probably see the Chargers going in week 1, maybe and beating them in LA, or I could see the Commanders beating them, or I could see the Cowboys losing to the Dolphins at home and they make themselves 12-5. So I think that could be their ceiling, potentially 12-5, but I think set 11-6 sounds a little bit more realistic in my honest opinion. So where do you guys think the Miami Dolphins end up? Do you think they're going to have a winning season like above 500? Do you think they're going to have a losing season below 500? Do you think they're going to be right at the cusp of the playoffs, or they're going to be the outside looking in? Where do you think they're going to end up being? Let me know in the comments down below. And before we sign off, please be sure to drop a like on this video and be sure to also subscribe to the YouTube channel as well to help this YouTube channel grow. And also hit the notification bell too, because anytime I post new content on my YouTube page, you guys will be informed about all the new NFL material and content and news that goes around that you guys should know about. So, if there's more suggestions that you would like for me to, go more in detail in, I'm more than happy to do it. Just let me know in the comments down below. It's JP Football Fanatics. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you all in the next video. Peace.